everyone, my name is Mads, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where somehow I'm going to get back into reading. So we're not going to do a super long intro, but basically for the the majority of 2024 so far, I've been struggling with reading. I've had a lot of stuff going on, so that's completely fine. I also have been reading in some regards, just not what I necessarily wanted to be focused on. I've been reading a bit differently. So I've got a quiet-ish week this week. My evenings are hectic as, but my days are relatively quiet. So we're going to try and get into reading a bit more instead of procrastinating it all the time. And I'm going to run you through a little bit of a TBR, though it's very much a may read this, may read something else entirely, why I'm picking up what I'm considering picking up, and then we're just going to try and get started with reading. First thing, the easiest one on this list by far, this is a long list, I won't be reading all of it, is volume 7 of Ten Dance. This is a manga. Volume 7. This is what I have been reading for the past month or so. I picked up the first of these manga 3 weeks ago. This is volume 7. It's the last one currently out in English. So I want to read that to be up to date with the series, because this is a romance series kind of about these two men that do ballroom and Latin dancing, and it turns into a romance. Queer ballroom dancing, what else do you need in your life as someone obsessed with Strictly? So I've been big back in my manga era, which is great fun, but as a result I've got myself scared of books. So we're going to try and read some books as well. And, you know, to make it super easy for myself, we're going to start with, not all of this, do not worry, an Oscar Wilde, a classic, because that seems like a good place to start. I am seeing a stage adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray on Wednesday. It's currently Monday. And I've always meant to read Dorian Gray and never got around to it. So this feels like the moment to make myself do it. I mean, it's queer author classic. I should have read it by now, but I haven't. So that's the first thing we're starting with. I have started this. I read about 11 pages. I started it last night. The edition I have has a lot of words per page. Like, the total length of this edition is about 130 pages, which, as far as I'm aware, is quite a lot shorter than most editions. So it feels slow to read, but I'll get there. I'm going to try and do like 50 pages a day of this if I can, so that it's done by Wednesday before I see the stage adaptation, because that should be fun. So that's first order of business. Picture of Dorian Gray. Again, not the whole collection of Oscar Wilde, just the one little bit at the front. And the other book I should read, and I do want to read, is A Restless Truth by Faye, which is the second book in the series that starts with A Marvellous Light, and I can't remember what that series is called now. That's going to bug me. What is it called? The Last Binding. I have read 50 pages of this. I read those 50 pages at the end of January, beginning of February, and I haven't really touched it since, because that's kind of when I entirely stopped reading. So I really should get back to this, and I do want to. I want to continue with this book in this series, etc. Whether it'll be this week, I don't know. I might go easier, which is the other 3 options. So other options are 3 romances. The top priority one for me is A Love Song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams, who wrote 7 Days in June, which is one of my favourite romances ever. The reason I specifically want to read this now is because this has a big focus on the 29th of February, like a leap year, and I think it's set quite specifically around that date. So I've been saving it to read around that date. That's now in like a week, so I need to get on with this. I know nothing else about it, but I think I'm gonna really, really like it, given how much I like 7 Days in June. So that's a very high priority. I also have an arc of Bride by Hazelwood. You can see the actual cover there. And werewolf and vampire romance. I mean, that just sounds like a fun time if I want to get back into reading. I have a love-hate relationship with Hazelwood, which some of you will know. I loved Love Hypothesis. I quite liked Love on the Brain. I didn't like the short stories, and by love, theoretically, I'm really getting done with the big man, small woman vibes, but I'm going to hope with the paranormal aspect that feels less annoying. So we're giving Hazelwood one last try, and this is her final attempt. And then the final option is, it's again an arc copy, but My Own Worst Enemy by Lily Linden. I've read this before, I read it last year, but I'm seeing Lily Linden at an event at the end of February, so I want to try and reread it if I can. Am I going to get to all of these within the next 3 days? No, absolutely not, but that is the pile of possibilities for after I have finished The Importance of Being Earnest. No, that's the play I like. The Picture of Dorian Gray. So I'm going to crack on with this now, see if I can get my 50 pages read, go on a run and shower when I need to wake myself up inevitably because I'll get sleepy. Wish me luck. We're also vlogging for the first time in a long time, so let's see how it goes. Later, so we have a few updates and some very floppy, freshly washed hair, which is not behaving in the slightest. But I have read up to about page 55 of Dorian Gray, which I think means I read about 30 pages today. 35, isn't quite as much as I wanted, but I think I'm going to try and settle down, maybe do another half hour of that. I need to go out in about an hour and a half, so maybe do half an hour of Dorian Gray quickly, and then we'll see how I'm getting on. What else I want to read, might pick up something different, possibly one of my romancy books to go alongside it, because I'm imagining my 50 pages each day of Dorian Gray probably won't take me the entire day, but I want to keep reading even when I'm not reading that. But then I also realised I completely forgot to mention the other book I'm reading, which is the Transgender issue by Shon, Faye, which I'm currently listening to on audio. So I listened to an hour or so of this, slightly more this morning when I was out on a walk. I'm currently actually a bit further than this bookmark suggests. I think I'm around about there, around about page 182, but obviously I'm listening to it on audio, so the translation isn't perfect, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm reading it whenever I'm out the house basically at the moment, so walking, running, on the tube, reading on the tube, as in listening on the tube has been a completely new endeavour for me. I'm quite enjoying it. And I've got a very long tube journey later, an hour or so each way to where I'm headed, so we'll listen to probably another couple hours of that, which is good. Make some really good progress in that. But yeah, other than that, I've had my shower, I've updated my reading journal, which you'll have seen some of. I also updated my reading spreadsheet, which is a very edited version of Core Pile by G at Book Roast, and just feeling very up to date and very productive. So yeah, a little bit more Dorian Gray, and then I want to start Bride because I want to be reading Ricki Wilde as close to the 29th as possible, but I'm worried that I won't have time to do both this week, so I will see how I am feeling in half an hour or so and update you then. We have updates, the most exciting of which I'm actually reading. It's a miracle, it's happening. Apparently breaking out the vlogging camera and giving myself accountability was exactly what I needed. So, what is worth updating on? Let's go with Dorian Gray first, because I'm not doing the best with that one. So I finished yesterday on around page 65 and I've got to around page 95 today. So I ideally need to read a bit more, but I'm not really feeling the motivation to do so. I think, for anyone that doesn't know, what I've always heard as the plot of Dorian Gray is it's about this man, Dorian Gray, who has a portrait done of him and basically makes a deal with something that the portrait will age and he won't. And then it becomes this philosophical something, almost vaguely horror-y, I don't know. I'm nearly 2/3 of the way through, and we've had like 2 mentions of that. And we've had a lot of men being dicks in Old English high society. I feel like I'm missing the point a little bit. The few moments of like philosophical reflection with regards to that I've quite enjoyed, but they're feeling very few and far between, and as I say, it's just a lot of men gallivanting around doing what they want and being a little bit pretentious. So, not sure how I'm feeling about it. I need to try and read another 20 pages today, but I'm really not feeling it. But I might try and do it later this evening. I'm going out in a couple hours to this musical theatre class I'm doing, and when I get back from that, I can probably settle down for half an hour and just bat out the last bit of it. What I am reading and very much enjoying is Bride by Hazelwood. I'm sure I showed you this before, but the actual cover is there. This is an arc from the publisher. I started this yesterday. For me, I'm making very good progress on like page 125, 120-ish. I'm really enjoying this. I said in the intro, this is Ali Hazelwood's last chance for me. This is last chance. Because I have got so fed up of every Ali Hazelwood couple being big, strong man, tiny little woman, and it's been really fucking me off. So this was very much her last chance. And she's kind of smashing it out of the park. We definitely have a little bit of big man, small woman, but like, we're shown it, not told it. So like, he looms over her. I'm like, I can manage that. I can manage that vibe. I just don't need to be told it 20,000 times. So like, it's there, but there's enough other good stuff happening that I really like it. So very vague synopsis for this one. You are in a world where there are werewolves, vampires, and humans. Werewolves are called weres. And the three races do not get along. And at the beginning of this book, you find out that a vampire has basically been betrothed to marry and is marrying the leader of the werewolves to form an alliance, basically. They all despise each other and kind of want to kill each other. So that's not a fantastic dynamic. And you are following those two people and finding out a lot of politics about the world, and there's like a mystery going on. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is just Crescent City, but like a bit less fantastical and funny. It's very similar to Crescent City, I'm not going to lie to you. It really is. You've got big, overprotective man that's definitely in love but won't admit it. You have spunky, gets herself in loads of trouble because she can't shut her mouth up woman. And, you know, who's investigating this mystery about a friend. It's literally Crescent City. I liked Crescent City, so I'm not complaining. And it's really fun. And I don't know where it's going to go. But I'm having a really, really good time with it. So my motivation for Dorian Gray is dwindling rapidly because I just want to be reading this. And that's the first time I felt that about a book in a good few weeks. So that's very exciting. But as I say, I've got a couple hours till I head out. I need to have some food and stuff. But I might try and whip out another like 50 to 80 pages of this if I can before I go out. Because I would really like to finish this in the next couple of days if at all possible. Because I am loving it. But that's the update. Made some cute pancakes this morning. Gonna go out this evening. We're having good times. Good times are being had, and that is the first time that has been true for reading for a while, so I'm loving my life. Okay, it's Wednesday. I am seeing The Picture of Dorian Gray tonight, and I still have like 60 pages to read. It was 70. I've got 50 pages to read. It was 70. I've read 20 this morning. It is 2 p.m. I have to go out at about 5, and I need to get dressed before then. 50 pages, 3 hours. Should be easy. I don't trust myself. This book is so slow. Also, like, I'm not enjoying it. But I feel like we just had 15 pages where I don't know what happened. I just feel like we got a load of random descriptions of things, and I don't actually know what happened or what went down, and I kind of started skimming and not paying attention. I'm not gonna lie, there's been strong consideration of a DNF. But I think we're getting back into the actual, like, meat of it now. So I'm going to keep going and we're going to see. But we're not loving. But let's see if in 3 hours I can finish this book. I'm unconvinced. But we're going to try. Or watch me just read Bride because I'm obsessed with that and I'm like halfway through. But we're finishing Dorian Gray first. We're doing it. Somehow. It is Wednesday evening. I am just back from seeing the show of Dorian Gray. And I am happy to report, before I went, I did finish reading it. I'm going to do a very quick book review and then a very quick show review. And I'm not going to be saying the same things. So my review of the book straight after reading it was honestly like, this is why I don't read classics. I think I sort of said it earlier, but to me it was a few really interesting points and thoughts and, you know, topics, with 85% of the book being slightly unintelligible guff. And I will fully put a caveat on it that reading it in a time-pressured environment when I was getting frustrated at how long it was taking me was probably not my best decision ever, but you know, shit happens. And it's one I would consider trying again in the future, only because of the show. The show was phenomenal. I think it's open for a few more weeks if you're in London and can go see it. I highly recommend it. It is a one-woman show, and it is one of the cleverest and most impressive things I've seen in a really long time. It was so good and so interesting. and made me understand the book a lot more. I think I probably skimmed more of the book than I'd even realised, / it just wasn't going in. Because although 99% of the plot I knew, there were a couple moments I was like, oh, that's what it was saying. So obviously I hadn't got everything, but the show was phenomenal. So glad I went. I went with a few friends because it's one I'd heard of and was considering seeing, but most likely never would have got around to. And then a friend suggested it and we decided to go as a group. So very, very glad that happened. But that's Dorian Gray. It's done. I did it. I read a classic. I'm very proud of myself. And now I can read the fun things. But before I settle down and read Bride, I forgot to mention yesterday, I finished the Transgender issue by Shon Faye when I went out in the evening. I completely forgot to mention this. This is, unsurprisingly, a non-fiction book written by Shon Faye, all about issues regarding transgender people, and big focus on UK kind of things, especially UK politics, given it is a UK author, but massive worldwide mention as well, especially in like the West. Genuinely, this was phenomenal. I realise this is not innovative recommendation for non-fiction. This has been around and is very, very well known, but I loved this. I thought it was such a good intro to transgender issues, but also branched so far and so much further than a lot of things normally would, especially on intersectionality. And it wasn't limited to things are shit for trans people. It was like, things are shit for trans people, but they're so much worse for trans people of colour and trans people in the working class and this and that. And it just really, really hit on that perfectly. I think for anyone that wants to know anything about the trans debate as it is labelled, this is literally the perfect primer. It is fantastic. It takes you all the way from start to end into some really, really deep issues, and it's done in an incredibly intelligible and understandable way. So highly, highly recommend it. I loved it. The audiobook was fantastic as well because Shon Faye narrates it, and I always love a non-fiction where the author narrates it. So loved it. Fantastic. Highly recommend. As I say, I know I'm late to the party on this, but nonetheless, for anyone that hasn't come across it, would recommend it. I also was intimidated by it. I thought it would be more challenging than it is, and it was so easy to understand. So good stuff. And now I, guilt-free, get to read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I am about halfway through this, as you can see. I got to page, I just lost my bookmark, but page 182 last night, which I think is basically exactly halfway. I'm loving this so much more than I expected to. I love the vibes of the characters. We always love a man who is in love and just kind of fawning after someone, but trying to hold himself back. You know, it's good vibes. We love seeing men like suffer for love. It's great. So I keep dropping my camera, but I'm loving it. It's about 10:30 right now, 10:45, so I'm going to probably read for like an hour and then go to bed and see if I can knock out a chunk of that before I sleep. And then I'll finish it tomorrow, hopefully. It's very exciting. Got a lot to do tomorrow, but optimistic. I'm having a great time. I'm not going to curse it and say we're back with reading because I don't trust it, but we're feeling positive. I did it. It's finished. I think I updated you when I was maybe partway through this, and I said at the beginning, this was Ali Hazelwood's like last chance for me. If I didn't like this, I'd probably never read Ali Hazelwood again. If I'm honest, I said I'd never read Ali Hazelwood again after, I can't remember what it was, the third one. Love Theoretically. I said I'd never read Ali Hazelwood again. Because it was a slightly different genre, I agreed to give it one more go because I thought I could really like the paranormal. I cannot believe in the year of 2024 I am saying this, but I think I'm giving an Ali Hazelwood book a 5-star. I cannot believe it. Just for me, the vibe between these two main characters, the dynamic was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. The story was really interesting. I've seen reviews being like, there was no world building, it was ridiculous. I don't need some super complex thing. Sometimes just simple, by the way, here's the dynamic, these are the worlds, enjoy a bit of a story through it. That's enough for me. If I want high epic fantasy, I'll go read high epic fantasy. When I'm reading a romance, I want enough stuff to keep it interesting, and not much more than that, thanks very much. So this hit the nail on the head perfectly for me. I can't believe I'm saying I'm giving this 5 stars, honestly. I wanted to like it, obviously, but didn't think I would necessarily. I was skeptical. I was nervous. But I ended up having an absolutely banging time. I was completely engrossed. I didn't want to put it down. This was the perfect thing to try and get me back into reading, because I wanted to be reading it, and that is not a feeling I've had in a hot minute. So, well done, Ali Hazelwood, I guess. You can keep writing paranormal romance. I have no idea whether this is meant to start a series or not, but the last line of the book implied it could, and I would be very down to read the sequel if one were to exist, I think is what I will say. 5 stars, I guess. Who knew? Who knew? But then, what am I reading next? A love song for Ricki Wilde. Have I read any of the manga I said I was going to read? No. But this is on the TBR, so we're taking it. This, I think I mentioned in the intro, is a book I've been saving for this time of year, because it's specifically set around leap days and leap years, and that is not far off now. It's about a week away until the 29th of February, so this feels like the perfect time to be picking this up. I don't know much more about it. As I said, I love Tia Williams, so I'm just very ready to give this a go. I think this is, big focus on music, which is always big for me. Other than that, I literally know nothing. My mum read this and said it wasn't what she expected, and that made her not love it, and she was very intrigued to see what I thought. So I'll keep you updated, but I'm gonna go dive into this now and see how we get on.
I see a blue collar
Hello, hello. As always, ignore the messy hair. I put headphones on, wet hair, so this is what we're left with. I am back in London. Been away for the last day, seeing Renee Rapp in concert. I'll have included some other clips, I'm sure, but oh my god, she's just insane. She's insane. She's so attractive and so unbelievably talented. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. But I'm about to be busy again for the next fucking week, so thought I'd do a very, very quick update. Basically, to tell you all about a love song for Ricki Wilde. I am about 170, 180 pages into this. Started it just before I went to Manchester, but basically just been reading it on the train each way. I am obsessed. I think I mentioned earlier in the vlog, I was saving this for this time of year because it's kind of centred around leap years and February 29th, and that's quite a key element, so I thought I'd read it as close to that as I could. And it's currently February 24th, I want to say today, so pretty close. I'm just obsessed, honestly. This is phenomenal. It's not what I expected at all. It is a romance, and there's some historical elements, and there's so much to it. But the writing, the characters, the story, everything about it, the atmosphere is just phenomenal. I'm completely obsessed. I'm so drawn in. When I'm finished, I'm going to read the blurb and then tell you the blurb and kind of see if they line up, because I don't want to read it because I don't know exactly what it says, but I don't know how to pitch this book without spoiling it, so we're going to go off what, you know, the synopsis on the back says, for if it counts as a spoiler. But I'm obsessed. As I say, I'm now busy for the rest of the weekend with various things, people visiting, etc. But I'm running around my house doing a last minute clean before people arrive. And then, yeah, got stuff on. I'll probably try and finish the book, try and read some other stuff. We'll see, but thought I'd give you a very quick update because I'm obsessed. Literally, I read 5 pages on Thursday night because I had to be up early for a train on Friday. And I was like, I could stay up till 5 AM and read this entire thing right now. Easily, happily, I want to. So, yeah, a bit obsessed. Cannot wait to keep going. Kind of wish people weren't coming around so I could keep reading. But yeah, I'm gonna go continue running around my flat like a headless chicken, and I'll catch up with you later. Hello, hello. Coming in to update you a tad bit later than planned, but we need to wrap up this vlog. So, the update is I finished a love song for Ricki Wilde. I love this book. I think I updated you when I was about halfway through, which was just when I'd got back from Manchester. It's been about a week since then, but I did finish this. It took me a few more days because I was busy, but I actually finished it the day before the 29th of February, so right before Leap Day, which was very appropriate. And I absolutely loved this book, honestly. I think I'm going to go with like roughly a 4-star is my feeling at the moment. I did not know what to expect from this book, but it wasn't what it was. I don't want to say any more than that because I feel like it's a very easy one to spoil. Let me see what the blurb has said. Okay, the blurb really doesn't tell you much, but to give you a vibe, I'm just going to read the last paragraph, which says, set against the backdrop of modern Harlem and 1920s decadence, A Love Song for Ricki Wilde is a swoon-worthy love story of 2 passionate artists drawn to the magic, romance and opportunity of New York and whose lives are irreversibly linked. That's all I'm going to say. It was really, really good. The romance in this, for me, was amazing. I thought the chemistry between the 2 characters was just phenomenal. It's in many ways very insta-lovey, but I actually really enjoyed that. It's a hit or miss trope for me. And I just thought it was, as it said, swoon-worthy. I think that's a really appropriate term for it, honestly. I greatly enjoyed it. The setting and the focus on both the 1920s and current day I found really, really interesting. Got like a nice little bit of history thrown in there. I just genuinely enjoyed it. Was it a bit predictable? Yes. Do I care about it being predictable in a romance novel? Absolutely not. So, strong win for me. But that brings us to the end of this, like 2 weekly vlog instead of weekly. I don't have all the books to hand, but I've read quite a lot. Considering the whole point of this was to try and get back into reading, I am chuffed with what I got through. So, to run through what I read. Firstly, I read A Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Not super long, but challenging, and it's a classic, so I'm chuffed. And then I finished the Transgender issue by Shon, Faye, which is a fabulous non-fiction book. And then I read Bride by Hazelwood, which somehow I ended up giving like 5 stars. Still don't know how that happened. And just loved. Vampire, werewolf, romance, smut, fantastic stuff. And then A Love Song for Ricki Wilde, which is timey-wimey, historical, romancy vibes. So 4 books finished, 2 read in completion, 1 read in part. I had a fantastic time. I'm very chuffed. I'm well back on my reading game now. Hopefully there'll be more vlogs coming as a result, but we will see. But that's it for this one. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment. Let me know what you're reading. How is your reading going so far this year? That's what I really want to know. And if you've made it all the way to the end and you don't know what emoji to leave some kind of music note or piano or something like that for Love Song for Ricki Wilde. Let's go with that. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, all of that jazz. But that's it. So bye, and I'll see you in the next one.